My name is Natalia, also known as Chef Rudakova. I'm a pro chef, a culinary artist, and a co-founder of a media production company that creates delicious, educational, and entertaining videos. The first memory from the kitchen that comes to my mind is the memory from my childhood, when my whole family, my parents, my two siblings, my grandmother, and our huge, gigantic dog would gather up in the kitchen and we would all cook pelmeni together. For those of you who don't know, pelmeni is a sort of a hybrid of Chinese dumplings, pierogi, and Italian tortellini. This childhood memory of making pelmeni with my whole family is very important to me, and it holds a very special place in my heart, simply because it was one of those rare moments when my whole family would gather together. My parents were and they still are very hardworking people, and in my childhood they were rarely at home, they were always working. So basically my grandmother was the one who rose us up and who was cooking for us. And somewhere once a month on a Saturday morning we would all gather together and we would chat and discuss different things and make jokes and have fun and prep for a whole month ahead. And for me, it's a perfect representation of what hospitality means. To be honest, I think deep inside, I always knew that I wanted to be a professional chef. I always loved cooking, I always loved entertaining, and I was always fascinated about the whole hospitality spirit. But unfortunately, only later in my life did I really give myself a permission to pursue this career professionally. And I think one of the main push for me to really become a professional chef was the study of food science and the realization of the magic of cooking. The realization of what amazing foods and dishes can a professional chef create from the simplest of ingredients, and the sparkle in the guests' eyes when they see and taste those culinary creations. The dish that I'm making today, I like to call it a royal egg. And I think it's a perfect representation of where our culinary industry and culinary trends are right now in 2022. Before we started with boiled and soft-boiled eggs, then we have a huge trend for the poached eggs, then there was beautiful egg lerpage, and nowadays the whole trend is around vegan and plant-based cuisine. So the egg that I created today is 100% plant-based. It's not a sweet version of the egg, it's the savory version of the egg, so it's very similar in texture and in taste. For the egg white, I've made silken tofu, and for the egg yolk, I've used the molecular gastronomy reverse purification technique to make the sphere from peppers and some umami flavors from the miso. And just because this egg is completely made from scratch, I can make it taste anything and I make it look anything. That's why I decided to make it pink and decorate it with some edible flowers to make it more elegant and feminine and more pleasant from the visual perspective. To me, kitchen is everything. Of course, it's a workplace to me, since it's the place where I create my recipes, where I test them, and where my team and I film those educational video content and online classes. So, of course, it's a workplace. At the same time, kitchen is a magical place. So, if you want, it can magically transform into a place of gathering with your friends and family, where you share a meal together and have fun. Or when I feel like I want to be alone and everyone should leave me in peace, I can just switch my audiobook or a podcast and I just prep in peace in kitchen, and it becomes my sanctuary. Honestly, I don't think there is any difference of what it means to be a chef as a man or as a woman. I'd say what it means to be a chef to me as an individual, someone with my individual work and life experience. To be a chef, to me, it means first of all to work smart and only second, hard. And that means questioning all the recipes, all the procedures that come before you, since times change and we have to adapt accordingly. In our day and age, of course, it comes as no surprise to anyone that women have it more difficult to really make it in the industry. We have to be louder, we have to be smarter, we have to be more hardworking, to be noticed, recognized, or respected by the predominantly male industry. However, there is one advantage that most of my female colleagues can bring to the table. And this advantage is communication skills. As female chefs, we don't need to shout, we don't need to be aggressive in the kitchen. We can make our point understood in more civilized ways. It may come as a surprise to many of my male colleagues, but women are just as competitive as men are. And we also want to be represented in the culinary awards and the culinary competitions, but unfortunately even nowadays it's not as accessible to us for various reasons. And that's the reason why it's so important for female chefs to carve their own paths, their own careers in the culinary industry, and most importantly to support each other. My whole culinary career revolves around inspiring young cooks and chefs to take cooking more seriously, to pursue it as a career. At the moment, I've taught more than 3,000 people online through my classes, and even more thousands of people through my YouTube channels. But I think the main thing that I bring to the table that can inspire female chefs to pursue it as a career is the example. The more people take my classes, the more people watch my videos, the more I'm out there, the more potential girls, women would decide potentially to pursue this career, to follow my steps or to follow their own path into the culinary industry. I believe that being a chef could be both a career and a passion, or either, or both. It really depends on the person. But if you want to be successful, if you want to really love what you're doing, it has to be both. It has to be a career and a passion. There is no way to succeed, there is no way to innovate, there is no way to bring happiness to your guests if you're not passionate about what you're doing. And at the same time, it has to be sustainable. And one of the pillars of sustainability is making money on what you're doing. So it has to be a career as well. The main thing that keeps me going is honestly your feedback. The feedback of my subscribers, my followers, my students that I receive on a daily basis. Surely, sometimes I receive some weird comments, but the overwhelming majority of the feedback that I get is positive and full of thank you notes for the inspiration that I bring through my videos and through the culinary knowledge that is not so accessible otherwise. And every time I look back at my career, I realize that there is nothing else that I would do instead. If I had a time machine and I could travel back in time and talk to my 20-year-old self, well, first of all, according to science and all the fictional movies, it is not advisable to get in contact with other versions of you. But if I had to, I would probably tell to my 20-year-old self to do exactly the same, don't change anything, take risks, risks are worth it, you will do it, you will succeed it, and you will get to where you want to get. Only maybe one thing that I would tell and advise is to take your mental health more seriously. My advice for the next generation of female chefs would be to allow yourself, give yourself a permission to dream. There are no dreams that are too big, too high for women to achieve. This is a myth. Forget about it and don't let anyone else to tell you otherwise. Dream big and surround yourself with people who also dream and who can support you. And together, inevitably, you will end up where you want to be. And also, don't be afraid to sometimes shift your dreams, shift your focus, because sometimes you need to take a third door, and this door would lead you to somewhere, a place where you didn't even know that existed before, a place that was meant for you and that will bring you happiness.